Hello, Sangha. Welcome to the Abbots address for this week. A few comments, questions have been sent in that I'd like to talk about. One of them, one of them is, why is it, a listener asks, right? Why is it that some things are irritating and other things are not? And this is obviously in relationship to, the three poisons or the paravita of patience we talk about. Um, So here's the thing. If I was in some kind of a like a therapeutic kind of a mode or something like that, one of the things that we might do together is to, really get into that question of why and really dig in there. And that can be very useful to do. How come? Where does that come from? And so on. And there are times when I'll actually recommend students to do that, and for very specific reasons that can be very useful. But on the whole, when you're practicing, the question of why, why do I feel this thing to be irritating and not that thing to be irritating is not probably the most skillful thing to be focusing on, see? Because the question of why can always be followed up by another question why, and so the thing keeps receding on us. So you come to some understanding of why taking the garbage out is so irritating. But then you ask, well, why is that way? Well, it's that way because of this. Well, why is this that way? And so this dependent origination thing that we hear about in Buddhism, it shows up here. See, there's always another layer. You see, and ultimately, who knows? So what I know is that in my own practice, um, I'm just aware of whatever it is that's rising in the field. Okay, so if it's obsession or repulsion or attraction or aversion or whatever it is, just to see it, just to be it, just to let it be, to notice it. And then if it's a, if it's going to cause harm or become a hook or become something that is not healthy for me, then I'll see it, acknowledge it, let it be, and just come back to whatever is actually in the moment. So if taking the garbage out is really pushing my triggers that day, then I'll just, you know, notice the irritation and then, press on, and just come back to the experience of grabbing the trash can and dragging it down that ridiculously long driveway I have. Um, and just practice being it. And the sensation of irritation is just like, if there's a cloud in the sky or there's a dog barking in the distance. It's just another factor in the landscape, and it's totally welcome to be there. But that's very different from like a really intense sensation. If there's a really intense sensation or feeling that's grabbing us really hard, and we can't really just be that way with it, then sometimes what we need to do is actually put the garbage can down for a second and stop and face the thing and just look at it really directly and kind of stare it down, witness the feeling, you know, and just let it be there. But you're staring at it. So this is better than it taking us over and we just like are put the mask on and can't take it off. This is like looking at the mask really like that, really seeing it and just letting it be there, and the impermanence and the non-solidity of this sensation will inevitably become apparent. See, so it's a little bit like the wildebeest stopping and turning and facing the lion. And that's kind of extreme. I don't usually, need to do that. But sometimes I do, and then I will. So fine. Most of the time it's enough to just notice it, acknowledge it as part of the landscape, and come back to what you're doing, what you're being. See. Um, yeah. And then, the question of why is that one a trigger? Who knows? I don't know. Because, you know, but I do know that the most important thing right now is actually this moment and what harm or what help can happen right now. That's the most important thing. So some thoughts about that. And again, I'm not actually speaking fairly because there's some therapeutic models that use mindfulness, let's say, and incorporate that in their modality. So it's too broad a thing to talk about to say that therapy does this and meditation practice does that or something like that. I don't think that way, but there are these general things we can say. Definitely when you're on the cushion, just see it, acknowledge it, let it be, come back to your practice. Okay. So, some new things happened this week. There's a new website that I made called mindfulness-creativity.com. And it's got the hyphen in there because to get mindful creativity without the hyphen was about $4,000 bucks, and I'm like, not going to do that, right? So I got creative, put a little hyphen in there, it's fine. So that's about the initiative at the university. Hop over there, take a look if you're interested. We had a really good presentation on Tuesday with Hoshi, Shinyu, and Refti and Irene from the university. It was a great conversation. It was videotaped. It'll be up at some point for people to enjoy and look at. And the Zen Arts Ensemble concert went very well on Thursday. I'm really pleased. Everybody just played great. It was a nice audience. It was well received. And we had a tornado warning right towards the very end of the concert, and it just somehow worked into the piece. I don't know. We'll see how it sounds. I'm going to give myself a couple of weeks to not listen to it, maybe a month, and then we'll see. But it was really good. People played well. It was well received. Now this weekend, Saturday, Zazenkai starts tomorrow, and that's 9 to noon, and then also 3 to 5, I think, is the afternoon session, or 2 to 5, something like that, 2:30 maybe. Typically what we've been doing is people gather at 9 and then go out for a lunch together and then come back for the afternoon session. Doan will be there in the morning, I'll be there in the afternoon. And then Sundays are regular classes. The Aikido starts at 9 for those who partake of that. The Buddhist Studies classes at 9:30 and so on. And then next week, next Sunday, a week from this Sunday, is the Mountain Seat Ceremony. So the big push getting that together. That's going to be a really awesome thing. I'm looking forward to that. And really the main thing I want us to do is just have a really solemn but really mostly fun time together. Not solemn, but serious. It's a serious thing. It's not a solemn thing, but it's a serious thing. It's a big deal for all of us. But it's also, you know, it's a joyful thing. And I just want us to have a good time together, and that's the main case. So there we are. Thank you, Sangha, for your practice, and I'll see you in the Zendo soon.